Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody that's here from the media for joining us today. I'm Austin Mayor Kirk Watson, and I know that you are all aware that there are plans for protests on Saturday at the state capitol. I want you to know that the city of Austin and the Austin Police Department are prepared and ready to protect the First Amendment rights of people to peacefully protest. This is Austin, Texas, and people here are passionate. We have a strong tradition in Austin of peaceful assembly as the capital city of the state of Texas. Austinites care deeply about human rights and due process, and they have always and will always make their voices heard. We welcome and support that. What we won't tolerate, however, are threats to public safety, violence, and property destruction. Just as our Austin police are here to protect the rights of people to protest, they will maintain public safety, and there will be consequences for breaking the law. That said, I trust the people of Austin. I trust the people of Texas. I trust them, and like other Austinites, I count on them to make their voices heard peacefully. We trust them to do it in the right way. Because when activity becomes destructive or creates a danger for others, including police officers, you're doing damage to our city. Austinites know how to peacefully protest. And I have faith and trust in the Austin Police and in our police chief, Lisa Davis, who's here with me, and she'll speak in a moment. I have faith and trust in them that she and the other Austin officers will preserve the peace appropriately. They will be protective of those who want to express their point of view peacefully and will be protective of people and property. We are aware that the decision has been made to have the National Guard here to assist the Texas Department of Public Safety if deemed necessary on Saturday. I want you to know that that was not my decision or anyone's at the city, nor do we think it's necessary. Much of what you see out of Washington is an attempt to create fear and chaos. We should not play into these politics of fear. In Austin, we value the humanity of our immigrant community, and we recognize the fear some people want to create in that community. I want us to mitigate, reduce, or eliminate that fear and not play into that sort of politics. We must continue to assert our First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble and express our point of view without creating or adding to the negative consequences for real people already living in fear. So, please assemble. Make your voices heard, but do so in a way that takes care of our city and the people, all the people who live here. Do not become a tool in someone else's production of chaos. And with that, I'll ask Chief Davis to say a few words. Chief?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here. I want to start by echoing a key message that the Mayor just stated. APD takes the constitutional right to peacefully assemble seriously, and we will all, as well as to allow the freedom of the press while also ensuring public safety and the safety of our officers. It is a responsibility of the Austin Police Department to preserve the peace and protect life and property. As we've said before, unlawful violent behavior by agitators directed at members of our community and our officers will be addressed and will be held accountable. With that, I want our community to know we are prepared for the protests this Saturday. You will see an increased presence of officers. Our team is in direct contact with state and federal agencies and will work collaboratively with them as needed. We've also been in direct contact with event organizers through the use of dialogue policing. At the time of this press conference, I have a team of officers that are meeting with the organizers, several organizers from the event for Saturday. We'll remain in contact with them throughout the process, or throughout the protest as well. So this is the thing, you have to have a philosophy as a leader when you're dealing with issues like this, and this is a big deal. It has to be reasonable. So I'm looking at 4 philosophies that I have here with these protests. Reasonable, restricting the fewest freedoms possible. I want people to protest. I will be there with you. I will facilitate that as best I can. Peaceful protest and peaceful assembly. Disarming, limiting the use of force, the coercion and intrusiveness. I don't want officers to have to make arrests. I don't want officers to use force. Focused, we target only harmful behaviors and conditions. So the goal is, within a crowd, agitators are really good at hiding behind people that are there to peacefully assemble. And what they do is they'll create this chaos. We're going to have targeted enforcement into those people and remove them from the protest and allow this protest to continue on. That's the goal. And then consistent, deploying predictable and unbiased tactics. That is our goal, and that's what we will do. We will be using all the resources we have available to us, from technology, motor units, bike patrol, mounted patrol, and our air unit. These resources, among others, will help us respond effectively to any unfolding events and quickly identify violent people in the crowd. Our department understands the importance of maintaining accountability and transparency, and we will be communicating essential information to our community during demonstrations in real time. To stay informed, keep an eye on APD's social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and APD in Espanol. If you choose to participate in the assemble, we urge you to do so peacefully. And like the mayor said, I believe in Austin as well. I think people want to peacefully assemble, and we're going to allow that, and we're going to help facilitate it. If you witness suspicious or dangerous behavior, remove yourself from the situation and immediately call 911. In our department, we'll have a room of department personnel. We will have 911 calls that can come directly to us from anyone in the crowd that's calling, giving us information. Our top priority, again, is the safety of our community and our officers. So let's all work together and maintain peace and order as our community exercises their First Amendment right of free speech and peaceful assembly. Mayor?
Thanks. We'll answer some questions if you all have questions.
Will the National Guard just be there, or will they be called in, like by APD or DPS, if they're needed?
I can answer the question, but she can probably answer the question better. DPS is the one that would have access to or make any contact with the National Guard. That will not be decisions made by the Austin Police Department. Austin, that is solely and exclusively in the purview of DPS. So you'd need to ask that question of DPS.
Can you give us even sort of a rough idea of the difference in training between the Texas National Guard and perhaps an APD officer that might be there?
Well, I'll make a quick comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Again, I'll make a quick comment about that. And I just heard her say we don't know that, but the quick comment that I would make is it's the difference between someone being trained to be in the military and someone being trained to provide law enforcement and be peace officers. And we can all imagine what the difference is in that. What we're talking about here is having at the ready a military force as opposed to a police force. You want to add
No, I
anything?
think that's absolutely true. I guess I misunderstood. You were asking about the difference between an officer and someone in the National Guard. That's it. These are people that come in for the weekend. They get college money. They come and they serve their country, and that's a fantastic thing. But this community deserves community and respect, and that's what we have. So when they're called in, again, they will not be called in by AP. Our goal is, and I know this for sure, we have the resources available to address this assembly ourselves.
Do you disagree with the decision, and do you think it puts more of a chance on this protest of maybe going in a different direction?
Well, I'll start with that. I said just a minute ago, I don't believe that we should militarize the streets of the capital city of the state of Texas. I think it sends a very poor message about the state of Texas. In my opinion, it chills peaceful, constitutional protected activity. It chills people wanting to engage in that. I think it is intended, or it certainly provides, I think, or provokes fear. And I think it's intended to or provokes, by its nature, chaos. And so that's why I said in my opening comments, I disagree with this. And you've heard the chief now say, in a very forceful way, we ought to let the peace officers do the peace officers' job, and they can do that. We're prepared to do that.
Did Governor Abbott notify you before announcing on social media?
No.
No.
Chief Davis, can you talk about your communication in a situation like this between you and DPS and how that works?
Yeah, listen, DPS is a good partner to us, and we work together on a lot of issues. And so we have absolutely been in contact with them. Their role is to protect the Capitol and to be at the Capitol, and they will be there if, I'm imagining if we got to a point where the highways, they would help with access to the highways. So again, they've been good partners, and we have talked to them, and with them. But as of now, their role is to, is for the Capitol.
Chief, how would you say the department's response to protesters in May of 2020 is informing your strategy, your operations for this weekend?
Yeah, looking at 2020, and I certainly have looked at video and doing research on applying for this job, you will not see a repeat of 2020. We are smarter. We are, we are reaching out to people. We have dialogue policing here now that we're bringing, and I'd love to talk more about that, of actually getting officers in and talking with people that are organizing this. These are the rules. These are the rules of engagement as we move forward, because they want to know, what do we do? How do we facilitate this help? And we are here to do that. They want to walk. They want to do all those things. We will be there. We will help facilitate that. And that's the difference. You are not going to see a repeat of 2020.
What kind of crowd control devices can people expect officers to be armed with?
Crowd control, there's no devices. We have, tools that we have for everyday use that we have. If you could be more specific, do you mean?
In 2020, officers were using these rifles that shot lead pellet bags.
Yeah, so that is, we do not use bean bags. That is not something the officers have access to. Officers are equipped with their taser. We do have pepper spray if we need that. Those are the tools, but we do not use bean bags here.
Can you talk about staffing on Friday? You talked about there being extra staffing. You talked about being prepared to take some of those agitators out, and what that looks like and what kind of space we're creating.
Yeah, so this is the thing. And we have the staffing. There is no doubt about that. But you may not see us. This is the thing. In policing, it is about not being that visible, letting them peacefully assemble, right? And so, but having eyes on and making sure that there are no violent agitators in the crowd. We will be blocking off traffic. We will help them with our motors and escort them through town, however they want to do that, and facilitate that. But we will be looking for that violent behavior and targeting those violent people and getting them removed from the area and allowing people to continue. That's the goal.
You ended up with 4 officers injured
Yes, ma'am.
on this last protest. Anything in hindsight that you would change or do differently that might keep that from happening?
Yeah, I think that's it, is kind of that intent of getting, who has the rocks, and they're really good, agitators are really good, like I said, of kind of blending in with a crowd that want to peacefully assemble and causing that chaos. And that is something, just being on the lookout. We're going to use drones. We do have drones we're going to be using, and help to look at the federal building and identify who is spraying graffiti. So we are going to use that technology. That's been helpful. It allows the officers to remain outside until it is clear that we need to go in and remove someone.
If this stays on Capitol grounds, what role does APD have versus DPS?
Yeah, if it stays on Capitol grounds, we could be on the peripheral just to make sure that it does not start. And if they do want to start marching, we could help facilitate that as far as traffic.
We have time for one more question.
I wanted to ask something. I came today because I'm urging my friends not to go. I don't think there is no such thing as peaceful protesting. I'm really concerned about tear gas being used, so I'm wondering if there's any way for you to advocate for that not to be done.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, I want this to be a peaceful assembly. I truly do. And I will help facilitate that to the best of my ability. And I do think having dialogue with the people that are there, that makes a huge difference. To be able to have people that are organizing these, to feel confident we're going to give them a phone number. Call me if you're recognizing someone in here, or they have a rock, or they're getting ready to attempt something, and we can remove people from the crowd. I don't want to fearmonger. I don't want to be a person. let's have a peaceful assemble, but we'll be prepared. And the tear gas that was used, that was deployed by DPS. And again, I'm coming at this that we are going to have a peaceful event, but we're prepared, and that's it.
And that's the point. We want people, as I said in my opening comments, this is Austin, Texas. Part of what I love about Austin, Texas is our strong points of views, our passion, our caring about the humanity of the people that are here, and we want to protect. So a big part of what this is about is as I indicated, please state your point of view. Please be willing to protest. We're not, as the chief says, we're not here to fearmonger. What we're here to do is say we want to work to make this the kind of event that people can get that point of view out there. They can express how they feel, and they feel strongly about what is going on. But let's do it in a way, we know how to do it right. Let's do it in a way where we do it right. We protect each other, and the city of Austin and APD is ready to make it peaceful and to help with that. So with that, thank you all again for getting out, and we appreciate all of you being here today. Thanks.